I mean, the mountain climbing, the risks, isn't this still little Eric proving to the world that he's every bit as tough as everybody else?
Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it. That could be part of it. I think so. I mean, that's probably part of it. I've always liked to be one of the guys. And I wouldn't say it's like I'm proving myself, but, you know, every now and then, yeah, in front of your friends, you sort of want to prove yourself. I'm not above that. You know, when I thought about going blind as a kid, I couldn't really imagine what going blind was like. I mean, I didn't know what that was like, but I thought about all the things that, as a blind person, I wouldn't be able to do. And that scared me like crazy. I mean, I thought about, you know, sitting on the sidelines, kind of listening to the world go by, listening to, like, you know, all the fun stuff happening in life that I couldn't be a part of. I mean, that, to me, was the scariest scenario that anyone could present. But for me, one of the things that's been exciting for me as a climber is trying to sort of pioneer new ways of being able to do things in the mountains as a blind person. You know, trekking with my poles, developing the system with a little bell in front of me so I can hear a person moving left and right, using my hands and feet to scan the rocks. You know, just these little systems that enable me to be a part of that group and be a contributing member of that team. I mean, yeah, so that's super important to me.
When you were at the top of Everest, what was going on through your mind? Were you thinking, okay, I just want to get down now. I did it. I can't believe I did it, but let's go home.
Now, I'd worked the hardest in my life to get to the summit of Mount Everest. I had horrible days on the mountain, you know, days where I was just moving so slow and I was so sick and I was throwing up all the time, and days where I thought, there's no way I can get to the top of this mountain. I'll just go through the motions and see, you know, take it day by day. But I mean, part of my mind didn't believe it. And, you know, my friend Chris Morris, actually, I call him the simple philosopher. He said one day, do you believe you're going to get to the summit? And I said, I don't know. And he said, well, if you don't believe it, then you're not going to get there. So I started forcing myself to actually envision myself on the summit. But not to get overwhelmed, just to take it step by step, moment by moment, and kind of celebrate along the way and focus in on each step, and that's what it took, you know, not getting overwhelmed with expectations, but just kind of doing what I needed to do each day.
Good job, Eric. You did it, man. Woo! We're on top of the world.
And
we are on top of the
when I got to the summit, I guess my brain hadn't really caught up to my body, because I still couldn't I just couldn't believe that I was actually standing on the top of the world. I mean, I just didn't know what to even make of it. And I just looked around. I mean, I looked around. When I say that, I mean, I felt around. I felt the snow. I listened to flags flapping in the breeze. I hugged my teammates. And
what did you see in your mind's eye at that time? What were you picturing?
Well, I picture the world. I mean, I could see till I was 13, so I pictured this massive sky, because when I stood on top of Everest, I listened to sound vibrations, and space sounds very different. You know, the space in this gym echoes. You know, you can hear the vibrations bouncing off of walls and coming back at me. On the top of a mountain like Everest, I can hear those vibrations just moving forever, infinitely through space. It's the most powerful sound maybe that a blind person will ever hear. It's incredible. And so I was listening to that, and that was giving me a sort of an imaginary picture of what I imagined the sky to look like. I mean, just vast and gray and big clouds that were coming in on us, and there was a big storm coming in from the north. So it was sort of awe-inspired, yet sort of scared at the same time. And after about 15 minutes of thinking about how cool it was to be on the summit, I wanted to get down. I mean, I was thinking about my wife and my daughter, and just thinking, don't make a mistake. You know, that the mountain won't tolerate it.
Is it the accomplishment of the climb itself? Is it the accomplishment of summiting that most attracts you, or is there just something intrinsic to climbing that gives you a great deal of pleasure?
I think summiting a mountain is incredible. I mean, it's awesome. You know, you go to a mountain to go reach the top of it, And I think as human beings, we sort of have that internal drive to get to the top of things, to build skyscrapers as tall as we can build them, to design things that give us sort of power, in the world. And I think that's just part of the human psyche. But in the mind of most people, including myself, getting to the top is important. But if it was just, if the whole value of a climb for me was just to get to the summit, it'd be pretty darn shallow.
When you finish this last summit, when you finish whatever your last summit is going to be, when mountain climbing is no longer your prime occupation, is a regular life going to be enough for you?
Yeah, I think a regular life will be plenty for me. For me, I think the hardest part is coming down from those summits and just being a regular guy and
Say hi, Mama.
and finding a lot of happiness and so forth just with smaller things. One thing I always have something to look forward to. My wife and my daughter Emma, I mean, I can spend months at home and just love it. I absolutely love it, and I almost resent these people that that don't think their family and so forth is just as important as climbing mountains and doing things that get a lot of attention in the world. I mean, for me, that stuff is at the top of my priority list.
Do you have to weigh the risk, though, of this climb that you're about to embark on, with the possibility that you might not be coming home to your wife and child?
Well, I don't think. Let me think about that. It's a good thought. I mean, I think a lot about risk, and I think about weighing risk, and in a sense, I don't think you can avoid risk. I mean, when you're first blinded and you're trying to cross a road for the first time, you might be taking a little bit of a risk. There are so many things that I would say are calculated risks that I do, but they're not crazy risks. And I think you have to find an acceptable level for yourself. I understand Everest had potential danger, had a lot of objective danger, and and I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but I didn't honestly believe that as a blind person I was really creating this huge risk for my team.
Which sounds better when you get your little passage in the encyclopedia that you are the adventurer, author, climbed 7 summits, or that you are the blind mountain climber, adventurer, author?
I've been blind for almost 20 years now, and so I'm totally fine with the word blind. I have no problem with it. People try to use different words like visually challenged or sightlessly impaired. I'm fine to be known as the blind climber. I mean, I'm okay with that. So I don't think you can take the blind out of the climbing. But to my friends and to my family, I think it's probably a cooler thing to be seen as, hey, he was a good dad, he was a good husband, he was a good climber, he did some extraordinary things in his life, he was a good friend, and he happened to be blind. That's pretty cool, I guess. It's not, blind's a part of it, but it's not the most important part of it.